One man earned $95,000 a year. The other earned $52,000. Same building, same neighborhood, same rent. But one had $340 in his bank account. The other had 18 months of savings. This is not a story about income. This is a story about two completely different choices. Same building, same floor, same neighborhood. Two men, two completely different financial lives. This is the story of Marcus and James, and by the end, you will never think about money the same way again. Meet Marcus. He earns $95,000 a year. Every few weeks, something new arrives at his door. New clothes, new gadgets, new things. Marcus loves life, and to Marcus, life means things. The day the sectional arrived, 4 men carried it up the stairs. $4,000. Marcus stood at the top, watching with a huge smile. "Only the best," he said. "Only the best." Now, meet James. He earns $52,000 a year. He comes home with groceries, simple things. No fanfare, no deliveries, no excitement. Just quiet, deliberate living. One evening, someone asked James how his day was. He said, "Good. Moved some money into index funds today. Small step, but it adds up." He was 27 years old and already thinking about freedom. Walk into Marcus's apartment and your eyes don't know where to go. 75-inch television on the wall, $4,000 leather sectional, price tags floating on everything. It looks like success, it feels like success. His kitchen tells the same story. An air fryer, a juicer, a coffee machine worth $800, an Instant Pot still in the box, bought with excitement, forgotten within weeks. His closet is no different, packed with shirts, jackets, shoes. He pulls one out and finds the tag still attached, never worn, money spent, memory forgotten. The spare bedroom isn't a bedroom, it's a graveyard of good intentions. Boxes, bags, a bicycle used twice, dust settling on things bought with purpose and abandoned without thought. James's apartment tells a completely different story. A modest couch, small television, one plant, a floor you can actually see. The same apartment size as Marcus, but it feels twice as large. And his spare bedroom? It's actually a bedroom. Nothing extra, nothing wasted. Everything with a purpose. James calls this intentional living, and it costs him nothing. Then came the moment that revealed everything. Marcus's phone buzzed on the counter. Bank notification. Account balance, $340. 3 weeks before payday. $95,000 a year. $340 in the bank. Every month, the numbers confused him. Almost $8,000 coming in, and somehow, nothing left. He sat with his bills and his calculator trying to understand where it all went. Here is where it went. Rent, car payment, 15 subscriptions, restaurants, online shopping at midnight, upgrades for things that didn't need upgrading. Every dollar already spoken for before it arrived. James did something different every Sunday morning. He sat with a simple notebook. No app, no spreadsheet, just a notebook. Income, fixed expenses, savings transferred first. What remained was his to spend freely. He called it his freedom number, the amount left after savings were already gone. He circled it, he underlined it, and he never spent beyond it, ever. And every time James checked his account, there was no knot in his stomach, no fear, no confusion, just calm, quiet confidence. Marcus bought a treadmill in February, New Year's resolution. By April, it was holding his dry cleaning. He paid $1,200 for it, and it became the most expensive clothes hanger he ever owned. But here is what Marcus never calculated. That treadmill takes up 20 square feet of his apartment. Space costs roughly $40 per square foot annually. That treadmill was costing him $800 every year just to exist in his home.
Over 5 years, $4,000 for a clothes hanger. James exercised every morning. You know what he owned? A jump rope, $12. Running shoes, $80. No membership, no equipment, no second price tag. He didn't pay to own his fitness. He just did it.
Every 2 years, Marcus stood in a phone store with his credit card ready. The old phone worked perfectly, but the new one had a better camera, a slightly different shape. That was enough. 7 phones, 15 years, $35,000 on devices that were never broken at the time of replacement. $35,000 gone. Not because he needed to spend it, but because he never questioned whether he should. James had the same phone for 4 years. Small scratch on the screen, he didn't care. It calls people, it runs my apps, it takes decent photos. Why would I replace something that works? 4 words that saved him thousands. This is the difference one decision makes, repeated across every category. Cars, furniture, electronics, appliances. Marcus upgraded out of boredom. James replaced only what broke. The gap between them grew wider every single year. Marcus had stressful days, hard days, days where nothing went right and everything felt heavy. And on those nights, he opened his laptop, found something to buy. The stress lifted briefly. The excitement of something new filled the gap for a few hours. And then the package arrived, and the feeling was already gone. This is the cycle nobody talks about. Spend to feel better briefly, feel empty again, spend again. Every purchase, temporary relief. Every bill, permanent. James had stressful days too, but James had a list. Things he did when pressure built. A walk, a book, a call to someone he cared about. Free things, simple things. He made a rule. I don't shop when I'm feeling something strongly. That rule alone saved him thousands. Walk, read, call his brother. 3 things. No price tag, no regret, no bill arriving 3 weeks later. Just a man who understood himself well enough to protect himself from himself. Then came the raise. Marcus got a significant one in year 5. He told everyone. His face lit up like a child on a birthday morning. Things are changing, he said. I'm going to be all right. 3 weeks later, a new car appeared in his parking spot, gleaming, beautiful, brand new. Marcus stood beside it with his hand on the roof, proud, happy, unaware of what he had just done. The raise was $700 a month. The car lease was $680 a month. He gave almost the entire raise back immediately to a car payment. More income, same trap. The gap never appeared. James got a smaller raise that same year. He sat with his notebook, drew one arrow splitting into 2, 50% to investments, 50% to his travel fund. He had been wanting to see Japan. That autumn, James stood at the departure gate, small carry-on beside him, Japan destination on the board above. Calm, excited, unhurried, no debt, no regret. Just a man who deployed his raise instead of spending it. He came back with photographs and no debt, sat in his simple apartment, looked at the photos, and felt something Marcus had never felt about money. Satisfaction. Real, lasting, earned. By year 7, Marcus's apartment couldn't hold everything he owned, so he rented a storage unit. $120 a month, $1,440 a year, to store things he had already paid for and completely forgotten about. Inside, a kayak used 3 times, boxes of electronics replaced by newer electronics, furniture replaced by newer furniture, clothes that no longer fit. He stood there in the dim light of a single bare bulb, looking at $40,000 worth of decisions he could no longer explain. James decluttered every January, 1 room at a time, 1 question repeated. If this disappeared tomorrow, would I replace it? Everything where the answer was no, gone. He walked out of the building carrying bags, not heavy bags, light ones, because releasing what you don't need feels lighter than anything you can buy. 15 years later, Marcus was 43. He looked tired in a way that sleep cannot fix, the kind of tired that comes from working hard for a long time and not knowing where any of it went. He said it quietly over coffee one afternoon. "I made good money for 15 years. I have almost nothing to show for it. I don't understand where it went." And the silence after those words was the loudest thing in the room. James, at 42, looked rested. He had cut his working hours 2 years earlier. His investments were covering part of his living expenses. He was working not because he had to, but because he chose to. That is the difference between a job and freedom. He showed his portfolio that afternoon, not to boast, just because someone asked. 18 months of expenses in cash, a growing investment account. No debt, no storage unit, no knot in his stomach on Sunday night. Same age, same neighborhood, same starting point 15 years ago. One is exhausted and confused. The other is calm and free. The difference was never income. It was never luck. It was clarity, consistent, quiet, powerful. Marcus eventually downsized. Some things were sold, some were left behind. He stood in his quieter apartment, looking at the wall where the 75-inch television used to hang, and for the first time, he understood what the wall was trying to tell him all along. James's apartment looked exactly the same as it did 15 years ago. Same couch, same modest television, same clear floor, same one green plant in the corner. And that consistency, that refusal to chase more, had built him everything. Marcus sat outside the building one evening, hands clasped, eyes on the ground, thinking about 15 years of decisions that each made perfect sense in the moment and added up to nothing in the end. James walked past him that evening, earphones in, no rush, nowhere urgent to be. A man with time, because he had built the financial foundation that time requires. Two men, same building, same neighborhood, same 15 years. One spent his income, one built with it. One owned his possessions, the other let his possessions own him. The math is simple, the choice is simple, but most people never make it. James stood at his window one morning with his tea, watching the city wake up. No panic, no regret, no fear about tomorrow. Just a man who decided, a long time ago, that enough was enough, and discovered that enough was everything.